Guillaume Lefebvre, Mark Yeager, Mark Ingber, Ray Madoff, Norman Starkey, Wendell Reynolds, and Mike Rinder. By report, and with witnesses on every single occasion, all of them were either slapped, punched, kicked, choked, grabbed by the neck, thrown to the floor, or tackled into furniture by none other than Marty Rathbun. Every single one of them. Okay?
So you
with
just
witnesses.
need to change the names.
So you just have to change the names. Okay? Slapped, punched, kicked, choked, grabbed by the neck, thrown to the floor, or tackled into furniture. Guillaume punched and tackled into furniture. Mark Yeager punched. Mark Ingber tackled into furniture. Ray Madoff punched. Norman Starkey slapped multiple times, punched multiple times, kicked multiple times, thrown to the floor multiple times, and tackled into furniture multiple times. Wendell Reynolds tackled into furniture, and the one person who was attacked more than any of them, and more viciously than any of them, by Marty Rathbun, and more frequently over a longer period of time than by any of them, was Mike Rinder, who was slapped, punched, kicked, choked, grabbed by the neck, thrown to the floor, and tackled into furniture. The primary incident of which was witnessed by Guillaume, Mark, both Marks, Ray, Norman didn't. Norman wasn't there. Wendell Reynolds, and a number of others. And it is the most famous incident. It is an incident that occurred in January of 2004 in the room that you guys keep describing that these meetings occur in the CMOM building, or you guys call it double wide trailers, was an incident where inexplicably, out of nowhere, no forewarning, Marty Rathbun leapt on to Mike Rinder, tackled him to the ground, straddled him at the chest, grabbed him at the throat, choked him while banging his head into the floor, screaming at him, asking him a question repeatedly, to the point that he was turning purple, and requiring him to be peeled off of Mike by 5 grown men, none of whom are shorter than 6 feet tall, some of whom are as much as 6'4". At which point, they pried Marty off of Mike. Mike went outside, and then another gentleman, who also very much would like to talk to you, then just shortly thereafter, saw Marty go walking by, muttering something about Mike, thought it was kind of strange, followed Marty outside, at which point Marty then found Mike again, threw Mike to the ground, punched him repeatedly. This individual pulled Marty off of Mike. Mike stood up and told Marty to stop. Marty was winding up to punch Mike again in the kidneys this time, and this individual threw his arms around Marty because he thought around Mike because he thought Marty was going to punch him in the kidneys. Judging by the wind-up, was worried about it. He happened to be wearing a titanium watch, and Marty's blow connected with his watch because his arms were wrapped around Mike, and the blow snapped the watch strap in half. At which point he pulled Mike away, who was bleeding from his ear and had contusions around his head, and took him off to get him medical attention. And that was the last time Marty Rathbun saw Mike Rinder in the sewer. We're talking about 50 instances of violence on 22 people. Only reason I'm using those numbers is that those are all where the person themselves can state that it occurred, and there were witnesses to it, multiple witnesses. Okay, and that is why I bring it up. The point is that if you want to get into why and how and so on and so forth, sure, we can get into the time track and we can get into all of this. I'm saying, here's the thing. If you came to me and said we were talking to Marty Rathbun and he's left the church and he's talking about some of his disagreements and so on and so forth, and you never brought up anything about physical violence, I never said anything about David Miscavige beating this person, that person, whatever, I wouldn't bring it up. I wouldn't. Even though I knew it would annihilate his credibility, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. But he's the one who's saying that David Miscavige beat these people, and he's saying that David Miscavige beat the exact same people that he beat. And that's what pisses me off. Because this guy is a fucking lunatic, and I don't have to explain how or why he became one, or how it was allowable. The fact is he's saying David Miscavige did what he did. Not once, not twice, but 50 times to 22 people where the people are still around and they can attest to it and there are witnesses to it. And the instances that you're saying that Mr. Miscavige engaged in aren't that way. And you're saying 75 to 100, but it isn't true. And now I'm getting a little angry. Am I angry at you? Not necessarily. But I'm goddamn pissed at Marty Rathbun because he knows that he was the reign of terror, the whole track prison warden, and the lunatic, because he admitted to it, and he knew, and it was part of his downfall. And I think that the individuals that were attacked by him have the right to talk to you about it. And I think that the individuals that he is saying Mr. Miscavige attacked have a right to it, because factually, every single person on that list that you sent me that fax of, I have affidavits from them stating that they were never beat by Mr. Miscavige. So that's the problem with this thing. And when I came at you and I said that we had things that we wanted fact checked, that there were a few things that you were saying that Marty was going to fact check, or there was going to be fact check. These are the things that I'm talking about. Okay? Because they bear fact checking. Because bottom line, the problem is we can drop down into this minutia, but we're talking about the ecclesiastical leader of the Scientology religion. Okay? And it's a bigger picture than that here. And for Marty Rathbun, Amy Scobie, or Tom DeVock to leave and tell their tales of woe and fall into the category exactly like so many have before. Jesse Prince, Vicky Asnaran, Larry Wallersheim, Robert Vaughn Young, Stacy Young, all of them, the same allegations, saying the same things, in some cases things far more horrible. And every time Mr. Miscavige has been vindicated, as has the church. And the thing is they have become what they detested. And they have become what they fought for so long. And that is the truth of it. Looking into hurtful, writing clear hour factors, that kind of thing. Absolutely false. Never happened. Never happened. He never did it.
This
it's a total
Dave.
lie.
Okay.
Never did. Never did. Never wrote anything in folder. He can't remember the last time he wrote something in somebody's. I'm sure he couldn't remember the last time he wrote something in somebody's folder. He was an auditor. It was his first post in the CR. He doesn't CS or anything.
Didn't know of. Did he know of Lisa McPherson? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't ask him. That's one thing I do know.
Okay.
Like I didn't take these allegations and go and talk to Dave about them. I'm just not going to do that.